The time is 8:45. Here is the news edited by Dilini Gunawardana, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. The second high-level roundtable discussion is held on Sri Lanka's recovery. Expansion of economic and commercial affairs between Sri Lanka and Europe is conversed. The public is informed not to worry about a scarcity of food since the surplus of rice is available in the island. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunabadana says that the salaries of the state sector employees will be increased through the 2024 budget. The bus priority lane rule will come into effect from tomorrow. Foreign news: Israeli forces move further into Gaza as Premier Netanyahu declares time for war. Sports news: Cricket World Cup, Pakistan beats Bangladesh. Local news in detail. The second high-level roundtable discussion on crisis to recovery was held in Colombo today, marking significant progress in Sri Lanka's economic recovery and stabilization. This event follows the previous session in December 2022 and provides a forum to discuss the progress of the government's reform programs aimed at addressing key economic and structural issues. It also focuses on transitioning from crisis recovery to sustainable growth path, challenges and opportunities for attracting investment, promoting private capital mobilization, creating jobs and maintaining commitments by the government and participating partners towards Sri Lanka greener, resilient and inclusive development. The roundtable provided an open and candid forum between the government of Sri Lanka, the development partners and the private sector to share key updates and recommendations to sustain the momentum of the nation's reform efforts. The session was opened by President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who delivered an address on the growth and strategic directions for Sri Lanka as it moves from recovery to sustainable growth path. He also made firm commitments from the government to work hand in hand with the private sector to unlock key investments in new and existing economic sectors moving forward, together with exploring opportunities in pursuing green initiatives and championing Sri Lanka's regional logistics hub in the near future. Minister Nalin Fernando took part in the bilateral discussions with the delegation of the European Parliament at the Ministry of Commerce today. The GSP Plus agreement was taken into discussion. In addition, attention was paid to further expansion of economic and commercial affairs between the two parties. The minister appreciated the contribution of small and medium-scale entrepreneurs in restoring the national economy. He requested the delegation to provide necessary technical assistance to the small and medium-scale entrepreneurs. The delegation commended the economic reforms carried out by the government. State Minister of Livestock Development D. Behera says that unnecessary fear should not be nurtured on probable scarcity of foods. The minister made these remarks at a press conference held at the Presidential Media Center today. He further added that a surplus of rice is available in the island. The government is doing its best to facilitate the agrarian community, focusing on preventing the scarcity of food. Another program is underway to increase the fresh milk production of the country. Earlier, only 40% of the demand was met by the local manufacturers, but currently it has been doubled. The minister further pointed out the need to introduce alternative for milk powder. Plans are underway to uplift poultry farming as well. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, today at the weekly cabinet press briefing, Mass Media Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said despite the present economic situation in the country, the President has assured that the salaries of the state sector employees will be increased through the 2024 budget. Revealing that the government's expenditure, the Treasury has collected 1,751 billion rupees as taxes for the year 2022. 956 billion rupees was spent on the state sector as salaries and 309 billion rupees was spent on pensions. In addition, 506 billion rupees was spent on some of the beneficiaries. President Wickremesinghe will deliver the budget speech from noon on the 13th of next month. Police said that arrangements have been made to implement the bus priority lane rule starting tomorrow, and a 2-week period will be granted for bus drivers to adhere to the rule. This bus priority lane will come into effect during office rush hours in the mornings and evenings. Accordingly, vehicles on Gold Road must enter the priority lane from near the Savoy Cinema Vallavatta between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and should proceed towards Colombo Fort through Gold Road. Another priority lane rule will come into effect from 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. from Maradana Borel Junction. Tolkat Mawate in Colombo Fort. The same lane will operate between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. as an exit. The priority lane will allow the operation of vehicles such as buses of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, private buses, school vans, office transport buses and vans. Vehicles except those stated above will not be permitted to enter the priority lane during the given times. Meanwhile, the traffic police have been advised to issue warnings during this time to drivers who break this law. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The Court of Appeal has ordered the petition filed seeking the disqualification of State Minister Diana Gamage's parliamentary seat to be dismissed, subject to a fee. The petition had been filed seeking a writ order disqualifying the state minister from holding a parliamentary seat since she also holds British citizenship. Appeals Court President Nisanka Bandula Karmaratna told the open court that the petition is being revoked in agreement with the majority of the 3-judge bench. That came to you on Main News Story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the third term of the public and government approved private schools for the year 2023 will commence tomorrow. The Ministry of Education announces that this will help to restore the delay caused by the corona pandemic outbreak. Meanwhile, the Commissioner General of the Examination said that actions are underway to issue the results of the scholarship examination soon. That came to you on Watchlight. Moving on to world news, headlines first. Israeli forces move further into Gaza as Premier Netanyahu declares time for war. Thousands of Afghan refugees are fleeing Pakistan as deportation deadline looms. Canada bans Chinese app WeChat from government devices. World news in detail. The Israeli troops push deeper into Gaza, driving tanks and armed bulldozers through the rubble of shattered buildings, scoring for Hamas fighters and tunnels. Hamas armed wings says it attacked Israeli tanks advancing in northwest Gaza while also eliminating an Israeli force inside a building. Bombardments are reported across the besieged territory as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected calls for a ceasefire. At least 8,525 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza in Israeli attacks and over 1,400 people have been killed in Israel. Thousands of Afghan refugees and migrants in Pakistan are heading to the border to return home a day before a government-imposed deadline to leave the country expires. Earlier this month, Pakistan's Interior Minister Sarfaraz Bhakti issued on October 31st deadline for all illegal refugees and migrants to leave, citing security concerns. The government says more than 4 million foreigners live in Pakistan. A vast majority of them Afghanistan nationals were short refugees over the last 4 decades after the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in the 1980s. Canada has announced it will ban WeChat on government devices. The Chinese-owned app is sometimes referred to as the everything app, like WhatsApp, Facebook, Amazon, and Tinder all in one. However, Western governments have security concerns about it, mainly that the app could be used to spy on users. However, Tencent, the company that owned WeChat, has not responded yet. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Israeli forces move further into Gaza as Premier Netanyahu declares time for war. Thousands of Afghan refugees are fleeing Pakistan as deportation deadline looms. Canada bans Chinese app WeChat from government devices. That ends world news.
Development news.
Representatives from major global agencies and the European Union convened for a roundtable discussion with President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and government officials in Colombo today. This meeting was a follow-up to the previous one in December 2022. Officials of the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, International Finance Corporation, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, Japan International Cooperation Agency, United States Agency for International Development, the European Union and United States were present. That came to you on Development News.
Sports News is brought to you by Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
The match between Bangladesh and Pakistan is currently underway at the Eden Garden in Kolkata. Bangladesh won the toss and chose to bat first. At the end of 45 overs, Bangladesh was all out for 204 runs. In reply, Pakistan scored 205 runs for 3 wickets at the end of 32 overs and won a short while ago. That came to you on Sports News.
Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapuhina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Markspen Holdings Machinery and Automated Equipment Company offers efficiency in rice cleaning with the 1000D automatic rice mills, DOMA. These automatic rice mills are designed to clean 1000 kilograms of rice per hour and comes with a built-in electric display board. They are not only space efficient but also can be operated by a single technician. That came to you on Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapuhina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, the Cabinet has approved a proposal to change the frequency of power tariff revisions from every 6 months to every 3 months. Cabinet spokesman Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena told reporters at the weekly cabinet press briefing today that President Ranil Wickremesinghe, in his capacity as Minister of Finance, together with Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Vijayasekaran, had proposed the amendment. That came to you on Economic News.
Weather report.
Showers or thunder showers will look at several places in the most provinces of the island after 2 p.m. Showers or thunder showers will occur in the eastern province during the morning. Fairly heavy showers above 75 mm are likely at some places in the western, Sabdragama, central, southern and Uva provinces and in the Kurunegala district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Sabdragama, central and Uva provinces during the morning. That ends with the report. To wrap up the night news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The second high-level roundtable discussion is held on Sri Lanka's recovery. Expansion of economic and commercial affairs between Sri Lanka and Europe is conversed. The public is informed not to worry about the scarcity of food since a surplus of rice is available in the island. Minister Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena says that the salaries of the state sector employees will be increased through the 2024 budget. The bus priority lane rule will come into effect from tomorrow. Foreign news, Israeli forces move further into Gaza as Premier Netanyahu declares time for war. Sports news, Cricket World Cup, Pakistan beats Bangladesh. With that, we wrap up the night news on Radio Sri Lanka. Back to my good friend US, Chandima Virakorn.